Welcome to Sterling High School. I'm Jared Claiborne, your principal, and we have a special episode here today talking about the Bill Stout Foundation. This is a special foundation and scholarship group that has provided over $60,000 in scholarships for our students over the past decade. So I'm proud to be sitting with this gentleman and talk more about the Bill Stout Scholarship and Foundation. So, Mr. Sheridan, please, if you could introduce yourself and this scholarship committee first as we get started with the show today.
Thank you, Mr. Claiborne, and it's a pleasure to be back at Sterling High School. We'd like to thank you and Mr. K and everyone here at Sterling for welcoming us back. We are the scholarship committee for the Bill Stout Scholarship Fund. We are all Sterling graduates. To my immediate left is Lou Mattio. To the immediate left of Mr. Claiborne is Chris Morella, and then Jim Kennedy. And then directly behind Mr. Claiborne and Mr. Mattio is Michael Goffredo, who was our Sterling High School faculty representative. So as a group, we work together to raise money for our fund, and then in the spring, we make a decision based on the applications where the scholarship money will go. One of the leading graduates who was the driving force in raising the money is directly to my left, Lou Mattio, and he's going to discuss some of the things we do to raise money and a little bit about the legacy of Mr. Stout. And every once in a while, one of us might drop in with an anecdote about this great man also. So here's Mr. Mattio.
Hello, everyone. The history of this with Mr. Stout was that he was a teacher here from 1963 to 1993. And with a lot of us, he was a coach and he was a teacher and he was a mentor. But he was more of a family. He made you feel like family when you're around him. He did everything he could to help everybody. He was a very giving person. There's many stories I can tell you. One particular where a gentleman I graduated with, very smart, very great grades, but had a problem at home with financials to be able to go to college, and he wasn't going to go. He was going to get a job and take his time and try to work and to make the money. And Mr. Stout talked him in and sat with him about getting school, college funds, college monies that he could pay later down the road to get him to go instantly right after high school, and which he did. And to this day, he attributes that to Bill. He became a CEO of a company. He makes over $500,000 a year. Kids, one daughter's a lawyer, one son's a doctor, and he attributes everything to Mr. Stout pushing him and getting him to make that step to go forward. And he did that not only for that gentleman, but he was helpful for anybody. If they needed a letter of introduction, if they needed whatever they needed, he would be there for you. He lived in the neighborhood. He lived in Magnolia for a while. I don't know how many years, but he would be around, and he was just part of the family. He wouldn't be a night. He couldn't stop, knock on your door. He'd come in like he was just saying hello. And of course, he'd stop in for the free dinner. But he got himself around. But everybody knew him. But he was a very, very family, helpful man. And Bill never had any children of his own, so he considered us his children. And he would go to great lengths to help us and do whatever for us. So at the time, when Bill was no longer with us, we thought it would be great to appreciate him for what he's done for us and repay him back by putting a scholarship in his name, which is what we did. And we've been running it now for 10 years. And how we run it is we have an event or we'll get a restaurant. We invite everybody. I get on the internet. I get Facebook. I send out emails, everything I can to all alumni and people that were affiliated with Bill through those years of 63 to 93. And we get everybody to come out. We pass the hat. There's no limit to what they could put in. We just pass the hat and they put in what they want. And we also do Venmo. And like I said, we do have mail-ins for alumni that's very far away that can't make it. A lot of them will send a check, and everything goes in a kitty. And as we just said to you, we've given out over $60,000 to scholarship to seniors from Sterling High in the last 10 years. So the reason of the whole thing is he was that special guy. Every high school, I think, has one, but he was our special guy, and he was always there for you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing that. Mr. Morella, what else do you need to add about Coach Stout?
Coach Stout, yeah, he's a unique individual. Plenty of things that the wild man used to do. He used to have that black Bart with the black raincoat, I think, and the black hat, and he was a different individual. When it got cold, the hawk was flying.
Yep.
He would put up the information from the newspaper about how we were going to lose the next game, who was picking who, and he was somewhat of a nutcase with that stuff. But he was a wonderful individual, and you didn't have to play football either. We knew him a lot from football. I took Spanish, don't know a word of it from him, but he was a wonderful individual, and like we had mentioned before, just a good guy. And Linda too, who is still surviving.
Him and his wife.
And his wife, yeah. Linda was great.
Linda
people.
was a graduate.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Coach, you're the treasurer for
Yes.
this group.
Yes, I just happen to live closest to the post office and the bank is the only reason I got to be treasurer. But we're doing terrific. As we said before, just a little over 60,000 in 10 years. Every $10 helps, and we've had donations up to $1,500, and it could go larger. We do have, and as Jim will talk about, we're a 501c3. Matching gifts. Some companies have matching gifts. We just do terrific, and a lot of it is because of Lou with his fundraiser social that we have, and we have to get the younger people involved. We're not going to live forever. We got to get the young people involved in this, or it's just going to die out.
Okay. It's part of the message today is to get some more people involved. Mr. Kennedy, you were going to tell us a little bit more about what makes this group run.
I was. Thank you for having me here this morning. So the Bill Stout Scholarship Fund, we created it in our spare time, and then as an inducement to people to contribute, I'm a CPA, so I was able to get us nonprofit status through Internal Revenue Code Section 501c3, which in English means that you can get a tax deduction for your contribution. And we can supply a letter. We have a letter that indicates we are a 501c3 group, and that allows us to provide scholarships. And I have noted we all take turns presenting the scholarships each year. It rotates year after year. We typically give out more scholarship money annually than any of the other private scholarships, not from colleges, but the ones that you apply for. Mr. Stoudt was a man for all seasons, so to speak. 12 years after I graduated high school, I was living in Chicago and working out there, and I had gotten a job where I had a crew of 13 people, none of whom spoke English. I called him up out of the blue. I said, Mr. Stoudt, I need to get some Spanish going here. And he taught me a handful of phrases, a handful of words, some nouns, some verbs, a little bit of grammar over a couple of phone calls, and I was able to communicate with my staff. And that was, like I said, he hadn't seen me for years. Wow. Mr. Stout and his brother, the other Mr. Stout, married two sisters. And one of them, the other Mrs. Stout, was a teacher here also during the same time. And she lives in Florida and is retired now, but she felt that she really liked the fund too, because I'm still in contact with her. So it's a good cause. And as Mr. Morello said, we're not going to be around forever. It's time to get everyone involved. And I'd like to thank the Academy for this award.
Well, Mr. Kennedy, you talked about the next generation, but you guys are members of not the first generation, right? You had family that were here?
That's correct. My mother taught here for 22 years. She taught junior English down in the 100 wing in room 104. And she also taught French for a couple of years. My dad served on the board. Like many here, I have an older brother and older sister who attended here, and I graduated with the highest temperature in my class.
Awesome. These gentlemen have been here and supporting and serving Sterling High School for a long time. I will never forget my first opportunity to coach and reaching out to parents and Coach Morello, Coach Sheridan being right there. I had the opportunity to coach their students, but helping with our booster club. We gave out scholarships. Some of those scholarships we started are still given out by the booster club.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Great. That's great.
Very cool. So tell me, how can people get involved in this? What would you say the ways they get involved, other than just sending you something?
Well, and first off, as a side note to that, when Mr. Matteo was talking about the scholarship funds, when a lot of people show up at our fundraiser, we kind of call it pass the hat. And there's a lot of donors that we have right now that we really don't even know who they are, because as the hat goes around, they just put money in, which is a major part of the fundraiser. And so so I would say to take a look and we can try to get the word out on when the next fundraiser will be, which will generally be in the fall. Maybe we get that on Channel 19 and people just show up at a restaurant. Last year, the last 2 years was at the Laughing Fox, and they did a wonderful job for us, and I would anticipate we would go back there next year.
Yep.
And then also we have P.O. Box 112 in Stratford, New Jersey, 08084. And then also we have a Venmo account, and where I'm going to talk to Mr. K to where maybe we get something up on Channel 19 with it, but it's at William Stout -2 is the Venmo name, but you always will know that you're in the right spot, because one of the pictures that I gave Mr. K with the cowboy hat of Mr. Stout on, Black Bart we used to call him, and that will be the picture that shows up, so that way you know you're in the right spot on Venmo. So in addition to contributing at the fundraiser, you can also do it by mail and also do it by Venmo.
A lot of information's on. And also on Facebook, Sterling Alumni. If you join Sterling Alumni, you'll see a lot of stuff on that. We constantly promote on that. I constantly promote on that. Let you know the times, the dates of when we're having an event, where it's going to be. I always make sure you all know. There's no cover charge to get in. You walk in, you enjoy yourself. Get your friends from high school to show up, have a couple beers, drinks, and we pass the hat. You donate whatever you want. There's no set amount. And what these gentlemen are explaining to you is that we're getting old. So we're looking for a younger group to come in and help try to support us, kind of like move in and take over for as many years as we can to honor Mr. Stout, because in my opinion, he was the finest that came out of Sterling.
And that's why you recruited Mr. Goffredo,
And
right?
that's why we recruited him.
What's
Sterling
his,
alumni.
What's his role? His role is just to look good, or is his job is to get some more
Mike
people?
will take care of that.
We'll let Mr. Goffredo speak to that, because he's done a great job actually with getting some of the younger alumni here.
So my role in the scholarship is, obviously I am a teacher at Sterling, so I help when they choose the scholarship winners. I help validate what we see on paper. So these guys don't necessarily get to meet those kids per se, but I get to interact with them luckily on a daily basis, so I can really provide some insight and details, not just what in terms of is on that paper, but things and anecdotes that I can share as well. And the other thing about the scholarship is, this is my second tour of duty, as now an adult and a teacher. I was a student here, and it was my home then, and it still is my home. So when I had the opportunity to get involved, I really wanted to do that, because we say around here, once a night, always a night. And just because you're a teacher doesn't mean you stop teaching once these kids graduate or leave that building. You can be a lifelong mentor, and I think this scholarship speaks to that very well. So it's been an honor to be involved, and I want to continue to be a part of it. And again, I'm just very thankful to be here.
Mr. Goffredo, can you tell us a little bit more about how students can apply for this scholarship? It's an annual scholarship. Again, they've given out nearly $60,000 in scholarship over a decade, but in some of those years, there hasn't been a lot of applications, right? How can more people get involved and make this request to be a part of this?
Right, so as you guys know, maybe the public should know that each year the guidance department has a list of scholarships that the kids can go down and receive. They have to apply for them. They might have to write some sort of statement or personal essay, and then they turn those back into the guidance office. I think what we need to do is continue to...
Put the switch up. I think hit the switch off.
Switch. Can you hear it?
Yeah, continue.
Keep going.
Okay, sorry. I think it's advertisement. I know with my kids, my students, my 3 or 4 classes that I have per semester, I tell the kids, I say, there is money down there in that office to apply for. I think you guys are good enough. You just have to go down, ask about it, and be willing to do the work to apply for it, because every little bit helps when it comes to college. But it does require work, and it does require that we know about it. So I think between guidance, a show like this, and teachers spreading the word, I think we can get more applicants this year. And maybe something we can do is start to put commercials out in the announcements that, let kids know that, hey, there is money to apply for to help you with college in that office if you so choose.
So parents and students, you got to get in touch with your guidance counselor when it comes time to apply for those things. Make sure you're reaching out, and this is a fabulous, fabulous foundation that's providing significant scholarships for our students. So a couple things, right? What are our calls? Our calls are we need more people to participate in
Absolutely.
our committee. Obviously, we're looking for people to participate in continuing to fund and grow the fundraiser. And then we're also looking for everyone to help share the message of not only Coach Stout, but that this is an opportunity for students, right?
Absolutely.
And then also, if I can add, when everybody talks about the impact of Mr. Stout, obviously his wife, Linda Stout, Mrs. Stout, to all of us, had a great impact on us as well. And a couple years before Mr. Stout decided to retire from Sterling, they bought a place out in Montana, and they did very well. And then when Mr. Stout retired from Sterling, he walked right out the door, hopped in his big blue truck, and drove out to Montana. And he had an impact on people out there as well. And a lot of people in Montana, he lived close to Stevensville, Montana. A lot of people from Montana do donate to our scholarship. He had an impact on those people out there as well. And Mrs. Stout is ecstatic with everything that we're doing, and she's so happy that we're helping seniors at Sterling defray the cost of college. And we would also like to thank you and Mr. Sheehan for all the support you give us, and also one person who works tirelessly for us behind the scenes is Mrs. Giambri in the guidance office, who is a tremendous help with everything that we do with our fund. So we would like to thank her as well, and the entire staff and administration at Sterling High School.
Well, gentlemen, I would like to say on behalf of Mr. Sheehan and the Board of Education, thank you for your work with this committee and this foundation. Thank you for continuing to provide for our students and an opportunity. So we're going to send this information out. You'll get it on Facebook. We'll send it out in our blast. Sterling High School, Mr. K will put it up on YouTube. So you'll have it every which way you can possibly imagine. So please reach out if you have any questions. And again, we just thank you for this time. And as always, go Knights.